Howdy everyone out there in YouTube land. We are WordPress St. Petersburg. I am Jim True. I am the co-organizer for the WordPress St. Petersburg, and below me we have Travis Lopes, Elaine Simmons, and Jennifer Novak, also our co-organizers for WordPress St. Petersburg. You are here tonight for Ask Us Anything, our crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. We meet on the first and third Tuesdays monthly at 6:30 p.m. online only through 2021 until everyone's properly vaccinated. Our meetup is at meetup.com, WordPress St. Petersburg. Our website is wptampabay.org. On our website, you can see all of our communication channels at the very top part of the page, our Slack chat, our Facebook group, and our meetup lists. We have all of our calendar stuff. All of our meetups are actually on our calendar on our website, and you can see all of our past meetups, our past videos, etc. from that same website. We're a member of the WordPress Tampa Bay Network, which is a loosely organized group of meetups that meet throughout Tampa Bay. It's St. Petersburg, Tampa, Brandon, Valrico, and Newport Richey. The other groups are not meeting as regularly right now, so until they are, we're not going to be talking about their calendars. Okay, let's see what else. Upcoming meetups and events. Next, in 2 weeks, on February 16th, we'll be having our security panel, Is It Safe? This will be a technology panel on privacy, GDPR, security, VPNs, and being safe while working in a remote world. Chris Wegman will be joining us. He's a security expert in the WordPress space. But this is also a good time to get your questions together as far as like anything. I actually haven't put this on Meetup yet, but I will be putting it up tomorrow and sending out the announcement so that as you guys RSVP, you can go ahead and ask your questions so that we'll have a whole bunch of questions queued up for that particular meetup. On February 17th and 19th, Developer Week is doing an all-virtual conference. This is basically, this year the conference will be all virtual. The Developer Week team has offered our group 25 free open passes and discounted pro passes to the conference so our members can attend the event. Developer Week 2021, February 17th to 19th, is the world's largest developer and engineering conference and expo with tracks covering dev leadership and management, AI and machine learning, API and microservices, containers and Kubernetes, whatever that is, DevOps, blockchain and security, JavaScript, and more. Speakers include technical leaders from LinkedIn, Square, Salesforce, Red Hat, Intuit, Adobe, Lyft, Googlebox, Twilio, and more. Register by midnight on February 16th to get your free Open Pass or to save $100 on your Pro Pass. The links for this are going in the chat right now, so give me just a second. Copy link address. And they're also on our Facebook group, and they also went out to Meetup. So if you are subscribed to our Meetup St. Petersburg, it will be in you would have been sent an email for it. It's in our Facebook group. If you have any questions, reach out to us. I'll get you the link. You have until February 16th to take advantage of that. The Developer Week folks give us $150 for promoting their event, and that goes towards hosting the website and all of the stuff that we have to spend money on, like registration, domain registrations and stuff. So take a look at that one if you're interested. Let's see what
Very
else.
cool.
Yeah, thank you. March 2nd is our next Ask Us Anything, another crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. We will determine in March if we're going to continue doing 2 a month or if that's overkill for right now. If it is, we will pick up with panels and do every other. We'll do like an Ask Us Anything 1 month, and then a panel, and then an Ask Us Anything, and then a panel, and then an Ask Us Anything and a panel.
I vote for that.
I know you do, Jen. But you never know. You may suddenly get motivated and say, woohoo! So I'm going to bring in Nichelle. I see Nichelle down there too, Marilyn and Cheryl. We guys will bring you into the call as soon as we get through with the regular business here real quick. So we are looking for speakers. WordPress web design, front end or back end, plugin reviews, theme reviews, anything pertinent to web design, entrepreneurship, running your own business, anything of those natures. If you have technology or expertise in that kind of a world, let us know. We'd love to hear a possible talk topic from you. If you've never spoken in public before, no problem. Be like me and stumble all over your sentences. It's perfectly fine. Nobody says anything to you. It's great for your resume, your LinkedIn, your Twitter. And if you are interested, go to our website, to the speakers tab, click the call button, and you'll fill out a form for us. Our code of conduct for tonight. There are no stupid questions except the one you didn't ask. We're going to be limiting questions to 10 to 15 minutes so that we can get through all the questions that come in on the call. And any more than that in a discussion, and you really should be hiring a consultant anyway. Everyone gets to speak when you're on the call, but try not to do crosstalk, because if you do, then we can't hear your question when someone else is talking. Also, dial-in etiquette. Since we're using StreamYard, the invite link has already been posted in our chat for YouTube and for Facebook. There's also guest instructions that are linked in that particular link. So like when you click that link, it'll give you an information for guest instructions to how to set up your microphone and your video and your speakers. The most important thing is to make sure you've got your connection configured properly and you've tested your mic and your speakers first to make sure you can hear yourself in your, for your mic in your speakers, and that you can hear, basically those two things work, and that you are muting the YouTube or Facebook live pages that you may be watching the stream through. So if you're watching them on another tab, you need to make sure you go down there and click the little mute button and mute the audio on both of those. Otherwise, you're going to echo when you join the call, and that's not a good thing. Okay? So tonight, got any questions? Ask us anything. All right. Let's start with, I know we got ladies down there in the group. Let me see if any of the questions we currently have on the list from Meetup are from you guys. And because we have to try to handle these in order. We've got a question from Trent Garman, Bill Brooks, Marilyn has one, C Fitness, Sandra Erickson, and Cheryl does have one. Okay. Cheryl, since you dialed in first, we're bringing you in first, okay? Check to make sure that you're okay. She's nodding her head, so welcome to the call, Cheryl. Hi.
Hi, thanks. I did put in one question about Facebook. I since have another one. A couple of things that have always worked for me have stopped working, and I haven't been able to figure out why, doing my own online research. The first thing is I have quite a few websites where I maintain them, or I train my clients to maintain them, and they want to post a Facebook video on their homepage of their WordPress site, right? And in one case, I can go out to Facebook, get the embed code, create a post, there's no problem. But when my client tries to do it, the video disappears.
Are they using like the block editor, or are you using...
No, we're using Classic Editor.
Okay.
There is... I forget, because I just saw it the other day. I forget what exactly it's called. I forget if it's unfiltered HTML or raw HTML. But it's a capability in WordPress. And it's possible that for your client, they might not, for whatever their user role is in WordPress, they might not have access to that capability.
Oh, excuse me, like in the editor itself? Like you can flip to...
Well, he has admin. Yeah, he has admin privileges. I did find some information about a plugin that was supposed to solve the problem, but it didn't. So, if you don't have the answer, that's okay. I just thought I'd put it out there.
The plugin was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah, I would use a plugin too, just because those things are constantly changing. And if you do the Facebook one, I think you can set up the one of the Facebook app things to connect specifically, so that it does all the appropriate other stuff that it also has to do.
Well, that is one thing I tried, but the plugin I'm using is not working. Do you have a specific one that you want to recommend?
I'm taking a look right now. Hang on.
I don't remember the names of them.
Jetpack doesn't have one, I know. But
you've done a like screen share and watched him try to do it, because every now and then I find that people they're just doing like one little thing off that they didn't think of.
Well, I actually tried.
I watched them do it.
I tried signing in as him because I set up his credentials, and I got the same result he did.
Okay.
Huh. Okay, so it
Okay.
is capability related then. Okay.
Yeah, I would go in using either members or user role
Hang on
editor.
once. I'll be right back. I'm gonna put my phone on mute.
Yeah.
My
And
phone is ringing for some reason.
for the administrator role, make sure the unfiltered HTML capability is enabled. Because if it's not directly enabled, what it does is it will strip out like JavaScript and some HTML markup in the post content when you save it. So that might be it. They might be
Okay,
removing that when they save it because that capability is not like explicitly granted.
okay, thanks. I'll look at that. The other thing, just real quick, I have a Facebook page for my business, and I sometimes share articles from like Religion News Service and CNN, lots of different places, and I always get the preview image and share, and there's no problem. But the last few weeks, when I try to share like a WordPress site, the homepage of a WordPress site that I've developed, it will show the preview of the image, but it disappears when I click on, post it.
What theme are you using for that?
Well, I've mostly used Tempera, which is a Cry Out Creation theme.
So it's from the same site that it's not posting, or it's from different URLs that it's not?
It's from, like today, I wanted to share the pages of four websites I've recently launched. And in every case, it showed the preview image and then it just disappeared when I created the post.
So have you set a specific image designated as the Facebook image? And have you tried it with, there's a Facebook developer test URL. I don't know
Yeah,
what,
if you
sorry,
Google,
my computer's doing something.
If you
Well,
Google
there's a
Facebook
debug
sharing
link.
debugger,
Yeah, I used that and I got the same result. So
This is by the way, on your other question, this is a pretty recent article on Smash about how to embed a Facebook video in WordPress, and it uses the custom Facebook feed plugin. But
right.
it's like
I think
connecting your-
that is the one that I tried, and you have to buy their $90 premium version in order to get the video feed capability. And for every one of my clients, I would have to buy that, and
Gotcha.
it's not.
Any chance you could upload the Facebook video to YouTube instead?
Well, that's been our workaround. That's what I've been telling clients to do, but some of them are complaining about taking an extra hour every week. So
Yeah, that's a hassle sometimes.
okay.
But so is it with the images though, with the preview images? Have you set, like, do you use an SE? Like, I know through Yoast you can set the sorry, my words aren't coming to me right now. You can set an image specifically for Facebook.
I saw that.
I'm probably not describing it well.
No, I was playing around with Yoast today because I saw that was supposed to have that capability, but I haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah.
I'll keep working on it.
I would try that because I've found that is helpful sometimes, and it's sometimes it seems intermittent, and sometimes it's like it works on one site and not on the other. But when I set that image, specify that image as the Facebook image, it will work. And then you can use the Facebook debugger and it works fine. It does sometimes take, a little while to go through with all the caching, and so you've got to sometimes push through your caching and force it to work. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to work.
Okay. I'll go back and look at that again. Thank you.
when you say the image doesn't appear, though, is there like still like the area where the image would be and there's just no image rendering, or is like even that missing and it's just title description?
It's just got like the website description, and the image it's in the preview before I actually hit the post button, but then the image completely disappears. So what I've been doing is adding an image and then the link disappears and I have to put that back in. I mean, it works, but it's not supposed to work that way, I know. Okay, well, thank
I
you.
just went to a SEO, talk, and they were just saying the future of Google, rules about what they're going to rank. It's speed of your website, and you should definitely stay away from third-party apps like Facebook. It's got to go get it, and it's so buggy all the time. It's just not that great for SEO.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Facebook is good at Facebook, but I'm not so sure it works that smoothly when you're trying to run it through.
In all of these cases, they're church websites and they want their Sunday video on their homepage, every week. They want the new one up there. So, and I think it's a good thing to do.
Are they doing like a YouTube channel in addition to a Facebook? Because honestly, they'll get more exposure.
I've been trying to encourage them to do that, and I've had pretty good success.
Yeah,
but
from pretty much everywhere I've looked at, that's the direction. It's either Vimeo if you're really going full pro, or you're going YouTube at least, because you get the most exposure completely.
That's what I've been telling them. But I have a couple of clients who are just really resistant, and I'm trying to help them, and this always worked before. I can't figure out what happened. So,
well, I mean, we do, we use StreamYard, so all we're doing when we do the embeds of the videos is just the YouTube share link, and it should be that simple. If it's not that simple, then I would say screw it, because if Facebook can't make it that simple, That's how
I'll tell them I talked to the experts, and that's what they said. So they really need to get on board with YouTube.
Yeah, it really should be that simple. WordPress is pretty good about automatically embedding those kind of things fairly easily, and if Facebook is being resistant to that, I'd push away from it.
Okay.
WordPress automatically lets you put pretty much a link to just about any single social media out there pretty comfortably inside your feed. And if Facebook is the one that's fighting it, then I would tend to hang away from Facebook as well. The one that Jen was talking about is I'll paste it up in the on a banner.
Yeah, I just sent that link through. That should work. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram, they just got kind of wonky a few months ago about allowing the embeds.
Yeah, they're resisting,
a lot of people
aren't
started
they?
having issues with it.
They're pulling back open the application rights or something is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to be much more open, and they're not as open anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. Sure. Thank you for bringing your call in. Appreciate it. I'm going to bring in Michelle. I think Marilyn had to step off to fix something, so I will. I'm going to drop you back in the green room, and we'll continue on. Okay.
I will say I'm surprised there's no general platform out there to upload a video and just have it automatically go to Facebook and YouTube and Vimeo.
I can do it with StreamYard, but that's all live.
That would require them to work together and be friends and play nice in the playground.
Well, no, not even like that, but similar to what Restream has, where you can just stream in and it'll go to multiple platforms. The same thing for recorded video.
I got you. Yeah.
Okay. Hey Jim, I wanted to ask with that previous with Cheryl. Also, I know that the social media sites are making changes. Could it be that her videos are too long because they're religious services? And so, how long are the videos too? Because if they're longer than an hour, I got a feeling Facebook now with Facebook Live and all of that, they're trying to monetize that space and to get people to buy space now. So how long, what's the length of the average size of a video?
Well, some of them are 35 minutes and some of them are an hour or just over, but that doesn't seem to be what makes the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because we run anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. But obviously I don't share the Facebook Live link on our website. I don't try to embed it. I only embed the YouTube ones. But the YouTube ones they'll push their ads in anyway because that's what YouTube does. So
Yeah, unless you buy the pro service.
yeah, and that's really dependent on the viewer. The viewer is the one who's actually watching it, and so they're the ones that are getting the ad. That you pretty much have nothing to do with that unless you specifically monetize. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I would say for long term, for capacity space and archiving, them building out a YouTube channel is just going to be the better way to go long term anyway. It's just going to be a much more efficient use of space and being able to go back.
And you can still broadcast them to both because that's what are they using? Are they doing live stream, Cheryl?
Some of them are.
Yeah, if
Some
they're
not.
using, if they're doing live stream of their sermons, I mean, pretty much, you could do the whole thing through StreamYard like we're doing right now, and it'll go to both at the same time. And
I do have one
automatically-
client. Yeah, I do have one client who does that, and she's very happy with the result.
Yeah, and if they've got Mac and they want a little more control, there's Ecamm Live. We did a talk on this at the beginning of last year, and kind of talked about the different live streaming platforms. And StreamYard still is, out of all of them, probably the easiest to do.
Yeah, I think I was on that session.
Okay, yeah. It's
All
a
the
good
churches-
one. Yeah.
All the churches were, closing their doors and trying to figure
Right.
out what to do.
Yeah, and honestly, it's one of the fastest ways to get them back to that mode, because like you said, you've got this you can brand it. It's like $25 a month. It's not that expensive, and it definitely, I like the ability to just, I don't even have to think about it. It's just automatically going to Facebook Live and to YouTube right now, and I don't even have to think about it. And the audio is pretty good quality. Everything's pretty good quality. So. Yeah, if I were going to make a recommendation to anybody, that's what I would do, and definitely consistently focus on one channel more than the other ones, because otherwise you're killing yourself. I mean, Facebook is interesting, but with as much, with all of the they've been getting, they're going to become one of those platforms that is probably, you're either going to have people that are going to be on it or they're going to be never going to go on it again. And yeah.
Well, thanks. It's all very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. We try our best. Okay. Thank you again for dropping in. Enjoy the cookies in the green room. Hey, I gotta keep saying it. I think there's a bar in there too somewhere. Just have
I
fun.
sent a couple of links through, Jim. If you can share those, I can't share them from
Okay.
where I am now,
Let's
but
see, okay.
one is just the open graph tags on Yoast, and whatever SEO plugin you're using should have that option. But you'll find the terms in there. If you're not using Yoast, you'll find the terms in there of what to search for. And then it sounds like you've already found that the Facebook debug link.
Right.
But I'd
right.
just like
The
to
weird
share that
thing-
in case anyone else has a similar question.
The weird thing was that, the right images were showing up, but they still wouldn't show up in the post. So I don't know.
It does that sometimes. I've noticed, but it's if you can get it to push through, like you just have to play around with the cache from the site and your servers, and after a while it'll work. And I've had it on one client that we changed an image, and it worked. The new image worked for a while, and suddenly it reverted to the old image. I just went back and played with our what caching I could on our end, and we got the new image to show back up. She didn't have to make any changes to the post. It just updated with the image. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. There's the banner down there at the bottom, Cheryl, so you can see it. The Yoast.com help customer.
Right. I've got that page up on my monitor, and
Okay, cool.
Oh.
All right.
thank you.
I think Marilyn's going to try to dial in, but I'm going to go ahead and switch to her question now so we can move on with, because we got a handful on the list. So thank you.
Bye again.
Okay. So Marilyn's question was, how can I create, oh, sorry, it's on YouTube. Wait, excuse me just a second. We'll prop that up. Marilyn's question is there a way to restrict visibility for a drop-down value to only a given role. Can you be more specific with that question, Marilyn? Because the one you asked on our meetup was, how can I create a custom capability, edit attachments, so that I can modify the title and caption fields? That was the question you asked over here. And I was going to say, let's see, but we may need to bring you into the call because I have no idea what you're talking about there. To restrict visibility for a drop-down value, because that could mean a million different things. It depends on where that drop-down value is coming from. Is that in a form? Is that in an interface on the back end, like ACF or pods? Is that, in a meta box? What is that? So, but the other question you'd asked on Meetup before was, how can I create a custom capability, edit attachments, so that I can modify the title and caption fields? So, by default, I believe
those sound like related questions.
They do, don't they? Yeah. So, but I'm just curious. Hang on a second. Let me get back in StreamYard. I need to share my Ask Us page and move that over here so I can find it. Sorry, I'm moving windows around so I can find stuff. I installed the Members plugin, which is a pretty good plugin for managing roles and capabilities within WordPress. Application with Chrome tab. Okay. All right. Let me zoom that in a little bit. So it's this plugin here, Members, and let me get rid of that question so we can actually see our screen. It's this plugin, Members, and when you're in it, it provides you the ability to do, I do have that activated, yep. Within your users, you should have...
It's a separate menu item.
Oh, they did, didn't they? They moved it out. I didn't realize that. That's right. So they have a roles here, and you can actually modify. So I'm not going to edit administrator, but I'm going to go to editor, because that's probably what more than likely your folks is in. You want only, okay, I found the answer to that one. She says enable edit post. Yes, that's right. Okay, so yeah, it's, yeah, enable edit post, which is allow you to change the media stuff. So I'm glad you found the answer to that one, Marilyn. The question is, the drop down is on a form. I want only an editor to be able to change the status to published. You mean the stat?
The status of a post.
Yeah, the status of the post. That's that would be your published post. That would be the published post right here. Status. This one. You have to have that capability in order to publish posts. And if they're going to be publishing other people's posts, if it's an editor that's actually going to be publishing multiple people's posts, they have to have edit.
Edit others' posts.
There's edit others' posts, but I thought there was a publish others' posts, but I guess not. I think it's just publish posts. So if you test that one, that should probably do that one. You can test it yourself. What I do, by the way, when I'm inside Members, I duplicate the role. So instead of using the editor role and editing it, I duplicate that role. Like I'll go in here to roles, and I'll take the editor role and I'll clone it, and I'll call it my editor test. And that way I can go down here to posts and change, like I could turn off delete posts, I could turn off read, I could turn off, all manner of stuff, and I won't be messing with my actual editor's role, if that makes sense. And then that way you can test just this particular one. This is a really good one for that. We had a talk on capabilities and roles and managing users back 2 years ago, I think, and it's in our WordPress Tampa Bay website. So let me see if I can bring up another. Nope, it's not going to do that. I have to share this tab too. So let me see if I can change this one. Tampa Bay, wp.org, and it's called What's in a Role, I think is what it's called. what's my role? Membership sites in WordPress. If you go to that one, we kind of talk about those particular capabilities and roles, and I really go into detail about the members plugin. So, okay. Consider a different drop-down. I want one of the values to be grayed out or not visible to one role.
You're gonna start getting into custom code there.
Yeah.
Have a new hook. Find out what hooks are around whatever that drop down is, and
Yeah.
modify
Yeah,
accordingly.
because if you're wanting to show it but not have it available, that's unfortunately not going to be something you can do right out of the box. Okay. All right. Let's go back to our meetup questions. We have, let's see, Trent Garman asked, building out articles onto the site, media with the articles and embedding links. There's not really a question there, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Hang on. Oh, bring Michelle back. Oh, Michelle's in. I thought you were out of there for some reason. My bad. Sorry. Okay. Alright. Comments. So this was the next question. So Trent, if you are out there, this isn't actually a question, but we might be able to build a question off of it. Building out articles onto the site, media with the articles and embedding links. I'm not sure what the question is with that, but you can do that within the editor pretty easily.
Yeah, we just need some basic HTML and you can do all those things.
Yeah. So if you are out there, Trent, and you read this and see this, please give us some more detail about what your actual question is. Okay. And if you are asking questions from when you're RSVP, please make sure it is actually a question, because we can talk about stuff, but we kind of want to be able to help you. Bill Brooks asks, is there a way to, I think he left a word out here, but, oh crap, trying to copy and paste and it like grabs the whole thingy.
It's important to include verbs.
Be nice. Okay. People type fast, they can't help it. Like this one left a word out. Is there a way to probably something and have more than one package at a time, like an auction and a support theme? And I think what you're talking about really there is there a way to have more than one theme on a site at one time, like an auction or a support theme? And not really, but you kind of can if you install two separate WordPress instances. You could do it that way. So like you could do support.domain.com, whatever your website domain is, and let that be your support theme, and let that be a separate WordPress instance within your domain, and then do the separate one for auctions. Or you could install an auctions plugin and a support plugin and kind of theme them together.
Or alternatively, like a 1B, there would be to use WordPress multi-site. You could either do subdomains or subdirectories. You could do like /auction /support.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's true. Domain-based multi-site as opposed to domain name multi-site, or directory-based multi-site as opposed to domain name. Yeah. So that would be how you could do both of those. So, yeah. Okay. Another question. Let's see. C Fitness asks, e-commerce store setup, please. I cannot figure out how to make a shopping cart and checkout card, add a payment method, and also e-commerce sidebar I need. Okay. This is... Yeah. Sounds like you need some help with some e-commerce stuff. This is the actual question. E-commerce online store setup, please. I cannot figure out how to make a shopping cart, checkout card, a payment method, and also sidebar. Well, typically, when you're setting up WooCommerce or any of the, like EDD or any of the other ones like that, WooCommerce has built into their theme. You have to have a theme that also supports WooCommerce. So you're not going to get like the shopping cart automatically in your menu and stuff like that unless the theme you're using also supports the WooCommerce settings for those particular things. So they do have widgets that will be built in that will automatically work within WordPress no matter what the theme is, as long as the WordPress theme supports widgets that will show like like the shopping cart list and stuff like that in the widget. For e-commerce sidebar, most of that stuff is all handled by WooCommerce out of the box. I would look at, if you're going to look at them, let me do a quick share again. I'm going to say it's the storefront theme. Is that right? The one? Storefront theme?
Yeah.
Word, WooCommerce. 10 best WooCommerce. Oh, of course, the first ad that comes up is Elementor.
I just sent you a link, Jim, for the theme store for WooCommerce.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I appreciate that. Copy.
Sure.
Link address. And yeah, I was doing it the hard way. Okay. You know how I am. Don't mean to be, but can't help it. Okay. So this is the WooCommerce theme store. And their first one that they do recommend now is Boutique. But their storefront one is the one that is the most interfaced with... sorry, I gotta get rid of this comment real quick. The storefront one is the one that is the most Gutenbergy, I believe. It was the one that Automatic developed when they bought WooCommerce. Was this particular theme, and so it's a WordPress project, and it's free, which helps. GeneratePress has a good interface for it, and I think Genesis does too, don't they? Or is it what do they call Genesis now? It's StudioPress.
Yeah, well, yeah, StudioPress owns Genesis.
That's right.
Their product.
But yeah, I would start with Storefront. But if you were looking for another theme that's also free, GeneratePress works really well. So, but that's kind of where you have to start with. Is WooCommerce will walk you through configuring your payment gateway, your store configuration settings, and then from there on, the cart and they'll actually have you. It'll build the pages for your shopping cart, your account, stuff like that.
If you install one of those, it's almost going to force you through their wizard.
Yeah.
Now, like it's almost like it's kind of annoying to try to turn it off because it keeps popping back on when you want to bypass
until you go through the wizard. Once you go through the wizard, then you're fine.
Walk you through what you're needing there, just like the basic setup, just enough to get get your storefront functional.
Yeah.
But I would read a lot of their documentation. It's going to take a lot of reading, to really understand what you're doing and what you're working with.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
within their
some things
documentation.
too. I think we've talked about this before, Jen, because I know we've done this on one of our Ask Us Anythings, where we talked about the most important things to do when you're thinking about setting up any kind of online e-commerce store is figure out your payment stuff first.
Yes.
Figure out your delivery method, whether if you're going to have to be shipping or otherwise, get all of that stuff worked out ahead of time, and then worry about putting it online. So. Yeah, and
I think a lot of people worry about the website, but really that the shipping process needs to be figured out and designed before you even get to a website, because otherwise you're going to keep redesigning that website. So I would start with that. Just make sure, where are you getting your products? How are you shipping your product?
Yeah.
Where
make sure you've got that process.
To ship your products.
Yes. Yeah. Where do you need to ship? What's the shipping method? Is UPS? Is it USPS? And think about, okay, do I need a ship station at home if you're shipping from home? Do I have a storefront? If you're familiar with all of that. So make sure you work out the shipping and logistics first, and then you've got a good solid plan for that. Because there's a lot of things, if you're just starting up a store and you're just starting up an e-commerce business, there's a lot of things that people don't think about first. And I've worked with a number of clients through this that, well, why do you need to know how much my product weighs? Well, you need to ship it. So the post office is going to ask you, if you want to use the postal service, you need to know, does it fit in this, one size box, or do you need to ship by weight? Do you need to ship by volume?
FedEx
how often
UPS
will you need to ship? What's your volume going to be?
You to have specific sizes.
Are you going to ship, only within the state? Are you going to ship throughout the U.S.? Are you trying to ship internationally? Those get, it's a lot of questions that you'll want to work through and walk through. But if you read through the WooCommerce documentation, you'll run into a lot of those questions along the way. So I would suggest starting there.
Yep. And if you have more questions, you can bring those back again. If you got any specific ones, we can try to do that. But we might end up doing a panel about e-commerce at some point this year. It could be a useful one, I think. We've had e-commerce talks before, but directed open panel wouldn't be a bad idea. So we have another question from Sandra Erickson. Why is it linked her name twice? Give me just a second. Sorry. Let me fix this one.
Just be sure when you set up your e-commerce site to do all your customers a favor. Don't ship FedEx.
Oops. For some reason it smished her name together, so don't worry about it. Sandra Erickson asks, updating and maintaining new information and posts as a part-time job role. Elaine knows this one. My knowledge of WordPress is basic, but I want to expand the type of entries on the site. It's an interesting question, but there's not a question there.
Sounds like
I think it goes back to the documentation and figuring out, what types of posts do you want, what types of entries do you want, and kind of working from there, and reading through the WordPress documentation. I think probably some HTML is going to serve you well, knowing some basic HTML. That's going to give you a lot of room in how you can organize and design.
Unless this is a question about type of posts, as in like
post types with something like pods, maybe.
Well, maybe that. No, I was thinking along the lines of like types of entries on the site, as in like what kind of actual articles, that kind of a thing. Maybe that's the question. I don't know.
Like media articles or
exactly.
galleries or
I think Elaine's onto it. I think that's what they're looking for, is how posting those types of things.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing with the WordPress now, especially if you are doing the block editor, those kind of things, the post, what was that thing called? Post formats, is kind of out the window. Pretty much with the Gutenberg block editor. If you want a gallery in the site, you just select gallery and drop it in. If you want to include a link out to another site, you just drop it in. And it's a lot easier because you can pretty much, like from the block editor, you can search like YouTube. And if you want to drop a YouTube video in, you just do it. Like, and stuff like that. It's a lot cleaner as far as multi-mixed or multimedia or mixed media within the post itself. But again, too, I think. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say the other thing that I'm hearing, and what I think Jen is going toward also, is that if you're relatively new or getting somebody new or thinking about doing this, the other thing is pre-plan what type of post you're wanting and what it should be doing, because then that will make it easier to when you're going in and creating those posts in that particular editor. So you will expect for something to work the same all the time. I think that's the other thing when people think about content, they're not thinking about not just how do I enter it in, but what elements do I need for that content to be entered. So then
you're meaning more like content, like not how you do it, but more the actual.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think it's if I'm saying that I want an article and I'm going to drop in images of a product in it, that's one type of article. But if I'm doing an article with a video, that's a different level of content that I'm putting in. And how would I put that into WordPress? It's going to be slightly different, even though it's allowing for better mixing of the medias. It's still different attributes that you're going to need. So you need to kind of plan out what are those type of contents that you will be generating, and what elements of that content will you need. So when you go into WordPress and you go to post it out, you'll have all those things available to you and you won't get lost, because I think some of the times what happen when you're first starting out with WordPress or really getting into it, you get lost in the sauce of what is everything doing and where should I be going, versus saying, okay, I know I want this article with these key elements. Let me go into WordPress and figure out how to put it in. And that'll make it your job a lot. As somebody who is not an active WordPress user, that was one of those things that made it easier. If you're planning out your content, like Jen was saying, and what is it that you're really trying to accomplish. So when you go to WordPress, all you have to do is either copy paste or dump in, and then you're just figuring out how the best way to do it in WordPress.
Right.
Well, you're
I see what you
also
mean, like-
overlapping with categories. Maybe that's all she's asking is, how do I create categories and force all the, you know, the flower show stuff into the flower show section or whatever.
Or movie reviews or anything like that, or recipes. Yeah. Well, and two, like when you're going into WordPress, you go to the block editor and you get a big blank white screen with the title at the top. And you're suddenly going, now what do I do? And that really is one of those kind of things where you really do have to plan your content, just like you're writing a research paper back in high school. And you have to think along those lines of having an intro, having a teaser, having a, making sure that your content flow is consistent, so that maybe all of your movie reviews have the same layout, where you talk about some specific things at the top, some simple meta information at the top, and then you go into the deeper critique at the end, and maybe you have your star rating at the bottom. I don't know. And you link to other movie reviews at the bottom, and that's the kind of stuff is like content planning. It's why is my brain not working today? It's not content marketing. It's content development. I used to do these talks all the time, Elaine. Content
strategy.
Content strategy. You have to have a content strategy when you're thinking about your blog or your website, and you have to determine what is the purpose of this, and how does my content strategy help drive the purpose of my website or my business going forward. And consistency is key. If you're all over the place, your stuff's going to be all over the place. So, good stuff. Good questions, though. Let's see. And there's Cheryl's with Facebook videos, and that was the end of our questions. Woohoo! Doesn't look like anybody asked anything else in the YouTube chat. Yeah, that's it. So.
But e-commerce does seem to be a topic that is very
it's pertinent.
A hot topic right now because everybody's selling stuff online. They think it's going to be a snap, and
No, it's definitely not a snap.
No.
Well, like the folks that needed, that had brick and mortar stores and had to suddenly go online, they had to change the way they were doing it. Were they going to be becoming, they didn't want to suddenly start handling shipping because it's too expensive. So, but they may have had to do pickup and delivery. So for them, it would have been one thing to put the menu online so that people could order food and then put that whole process in place. But then you suddenly got to handle, okay, people are going to be picking this up. What's the time window, for that we can give them to pick it up? And if we're going to deliver it, what's their address? And the whole process just keeps stacking up if you keep thinking about it. If I'm a pet groomer and I'm used to having, call me up and set up an appointment, your process doesn't change that much. Your person is still going to be dropping off their dog or their pet. They're just going to stay out in their car. Put a mask on, that kind of thing. You're not going to ship your pet through the mail or de-res them and put them to the computer and teleport them.
Upload your dog.
Upload your dog, exactly. That's not going to change. But adoptions have quite a bit, because the application process has completely gone online for our adoptions now, and the meet and greet and the mediating with the, are you a good parent? Are you going to be a good parent for these pets? And let me see your place. Give me a video tour of where you're going to be keeping the animal. So all of our stuff has changed in our new online world, in our after times, or whatever we're in now. The plague times, I guess. So can we call this the plague, or is it a pandemic?
It's the plague period.
It is the plague period? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know.
No, it's the plague period, like alliteration.
Oh, the plague period. That's what we're in. The plague period. Okay. Well, I mean, we had the Black Plague or whatever the thing, through Europe, and you had the, all of these different time frames. So can we call this something fun? COVID sounds so boring. I think we should be able to give it a good name. The pandemic. So well, I guess we have no more questions that I see. So, what is everybody working on? And we'll do a quick little rundown. I know you got to leave, Travis, so if you want to say what you're working on.
Plague is bacterial.
Plague is bacterial, okay, not viral, right?
I had to know.
But the plague taught us a lot, just like the Spanish flu taught us a lot. Every single time we've had a gigantic thing like this, it has massively changed culture, commerce, technology, everything.
Supply chain. Yeah.
Yeah, supply chain, all of it. It's definitely pointed out to the fact how backwards America is. There was a graph they did on the response to the pandemic. I almost said response to the plague, and it was like it ranked the country's responses, and New Zealand was up at the top, and I think it was Brazil was at 98th. We were 94th. U.S. response was at 94th. We're at the very bottom of the list.
That's why instead of the pandemic period, maybe we call it the selfishness showcase, because people have to show off how selfish they are by, having to expose their open nose and throat.
Yep. Entitlement. Entitlement and the most crony capitalism I've ever seen in my entire life. To the point of
No.
There's no reason anyone should have made any money from this.
No, this isn't the most crony capitalism. No.
Not the most? You sure?
No. If you go back in history and you look at the big three industries when industrial revolution was happening in the U.S., no. When the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan, when the financial services, steel, and transportation all converged at the very, what they would call modern U.S. history, no, this is not the most cronyism. It's just that we have the visibility of it.
It's true. It's much more visible now. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't have people walking through the factories with their cell phones, taking pictures of the kids doing workhouse work and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think like all things, it's the visibility of it. But hey, so Travis, what are you working on?
Man, what am I working on? Fun marketing stuff. We're running some price experiments. We just bumped our prices from the floor being $99 to $129.
Oh, that's quite a bump.
So I had to panic the first day, like, hey, no sales are coming in, and is that because we changed the price? But we'll see. It's not a pricing experiment if you only do it for one day.
That's true.
So we're doing that, and just development around custom post types, taxonomies, rolling out some custom roles on some sites to lock people out of stuff they shouldn't have access to. Kind of basic.
Always exciting. Yeah.
In meetings, never-ending meetings.
Never-ending meetings. How about you, Elaine? Did you work out your client issues as far as giving them proper boundaries?
Well, they were talking out of both sides of their mouth. I want to cut back on your assistance, and the other side, here is some more stuff to be done. Could you drop everything and do it? It was like,
you can't have it both ways.
Oh, they want it both ways. No, they want it.
Yeah.
Can
I'm getting better at what?
I was gonna say, can I drop everything and do it? Absolutely, for the right price.
Yeah. Thought we all went over all that,
Do you do this when she calls on the phone? Do you let her hear the actual
No,
right now,
we don't
clink,
talk
clink?
on the phone. We're just
It's all by email. Yeah.
email, basically.
Still got to be tracking that time.
Yeah, it's a minimum 15.
For the same work.
But I'm getting better at setting a boundary and stuff.
Okay.
Because I went and actually looked up my hours for January, and I said, "You're already at your limit. Sorry." Or what do you want to do? Let it
there you go.
laid it at her feet.
Set
What
the
are you
boundary,
using
let them
for
make
your?
the decision.
What are you using for your time tracking now, Elaine? Did you switch to an actual program for it, or?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm better at just logging for each client. I'm just better at that. Done it my
Whatever
whole
works.
career.
If it's working, yeah.
Yeah. Long as you got a system, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Jen? Do you use anything? clever or cool?
Not really. Unfortunately, no. I've tried a few, but
I can't make myself go. I'm just like,
no, I
I'm
was
more
using
digital.
Toggle like successfully for a while, and then I just kind of moved away from it, and it's hard to go back to it. They added some really cool features, but it also made it more complex, and so it's like, oh, now I gotta like,
It's got to be easy.
I have to figure out the system for it and everything. It's. I think when it was simpler, it worked better for me.
Which was the one you were talking about, Jen? Harvest?
Toggle.
Oh, Toggle. Yeah, I didn't care for Toggle. I liked Harvest out of all of them. Mostly because it had the most integrations with everything else. But EverHour became the one I stuck with at the long run. Because EverHour I liked because you could just type a little message in the input box and it would actually just kind of find everything and do it. So.
At what point does it transition from being more concerned about time tracking and just being more concerned about getting better at your estimates? So that your estimates are just sound. And then...
For me, that was the main reason I did it, was for estimating, to get my estimating more precise. So, yeah. That
and
was
it kept my
primary
brain
reason.
on track too. When I was, I'm thinking about, okay, how much time am I spending on this? Instead of my brain just, oh, this is cool, what if I did this? And what if I tried that? Because, you get on, there's so many ways to approach a problem and to find a solution. And when you're really focused on, okay, I just need to focus on my time and how much time I'm spending on this, your brain just picks the simplest one that works. So it just makes it a little more streamlined.
I know I would like one that actually, I would like to see Harvester, one of them, if you left a timer running, if you could set an actual warning for it so that if it ran for more than 2 hours, it would
That was always
or something, because
You've been
that's
working
all.
on this for 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Because like mine, it tells you, it's like, hey, you left a timer running all night long. What were you thinking? And it was like, well, you should have told me 2 hours. At 2 hours, because everything I do is in 2 hour sprints. That's how I work it. It's the length and breadth of a dog's bladder. It's 2 hours. Or a cat.
Years ago, I used to work at for an accounting firm, a big accounting firm. Oh, you had to account for every freaking minute. And if you took a day off, they just freaked because they didn't know. They just wanted you to put it in some category. They were very anal about everything having to do with time and money.
Well, it's accountants. It's what they do.
I know. But it got you good at tracking yourself.
Yeah. Let's have the software company I worked with was the same. And I worked in human resources at the time, so I was doing payroll and hour tracking, time tracking. So I got to see the end of it. And that's actually when I started.
Whose time tracking were you looking at? Your own or somebody else's?
The employees. I worked in human resources. I was doing payroll.
Oh, so you had to see if they were being competent.
I had to know when they were taking PTO days. But unfortunately, it got into everything else, and lots of things became my responsibility that are not HR. Because I was in the accounting department, so that goes back to the accounting.
I could see someone looking at my time tracking and being like, it says here you took 15 minutes because someone sent you an invite to a meeting that overlaps with another meeting and you got really annoyed with it and you needed to take a break. Was it really necessary to take that 15 minutes?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
For everyone's safety, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Travis, do you track your time?
I do not track my time, no.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm just busting. Yeah.
Michelle, do you track your time?
Well, no, not in my role that I have. However, because of the type of work being in program product management, we do have to do estimates. That's what I was going to ask Travis. How are you? Are you finding that you're over or under in your estimation, and that's why you're asking this particular question?
No, I don't estimate in general, honestly. I have like a gut intuition of like how much can get done in a certain amount of time, but we also, both at Rocket Genius on the web team and at For Gravity, like we don't set deadlines. Things get done when they're done, so estimation doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But like that's kind of how I would like back when I was doing client work, I would just I would estimate it out, and that's what I would bill. I wouldn't track my time. I would just bill what the quote was.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it two ways. If you're really trying to hone in and give, and I don't know if this is valid for your job, but if you're really trying to give good estimates as to when you should expect something to be done, that's the one thing. But if you're looking just to see how much time I'm spending, because some companies are doing it to see where's the waste in their time, and that's a totally different reason to be tracking time versus trying to get to actual estimates. So that's why I was wondering.
It's punitive time tracking as opposed to productive time tracking. Productive time tracking should be helping them get a better idea for estimating projects and deadlines. And also recognizing when workload is too heavy in one area or another. So if you require someone to do both this and this, but you only give them this is the priority, and this doesn't get the priority, and then this never gets done because it doesn't ever get any time to get done. So
very specific example, Jim.
Thank you. I didn't want to be any more specific than that. So it's basic priority based resource management as opposed to what needs to be done or what should be done. Tactically based resource management.
Yeah, and the other reason that you use time tracking too, I know for me, is that when we're trying to find the value of a project. So for instance, one of the projects that we implemented, it was account creation, and it was 300 man hours in a month to create accounts. And we went from our 5-day turnaround down to a 15-minute process. So to show that type of ROI is now you're getting rid of that 300 man hours plus. But if we didn't have it tracked, we wouldn't have known how much time people are really spending doing that one.
I follow you.
Yeah, that one particular piece of the job.
We would be estimating, having the operations of the web team doing an automated process to handle refunds. And because right now we do them all manually. We have a tool to do it within the application, but it's you have to read an email and you have to go and you look at the thing, you hit the button, hit the refund. It's an automatic thing. It could be automated one more step. And determining this versus that, if we throw 20 man hours at it, programming hours to create this thing, that's going to save us in the long run over 500 support hours.
Right.
Not even save you, but be able to reallocate them better.
Yeah, reallocate
the stuff that actually matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we know for a fact that we have at least of a minimum 50 refunds a week. And you can calculate that out, that even if it is only a minute to 2 minutes per refund, that's still, that's 100 minutes, that one employee has to do, or 200 minutes sometimes, depending. So, on how fast the website responds and stuff like that. We don't care if the customer has to wait 3 minutes while the refund goes and automatically processes, but it matters if we have to do that. So
yeah.
No, I get you completely.
Yeah. So that's so that's the thing, and also the other thing is, I think your work is kind of shifting its model. If I'm to remember from the last conversation correctly, that you'll find that even high level time tracking, it may not be every nuanced piece, but at a very high level to say that this is where you're spending your time. So as it gets you better at estimating the value of what you're providing too. Just like you're saying, we went from $99 to $129. Well, there was a decision behind doing that, and it was because maybe you were undervaluing what from a financial perspective, what your time was at that point. And so this is the justification of going up, because I had to do that, help a cousin with that. He was a truck driver, and just knowing that when he broke down the time that he spent driving and mileage and what he was spending on gas and all of those things, having his time logged helped. And he was able to prove I'm not getting paid what my rate should be, and that's the other portion of it also.
Yeah.
Well, for us, it's not even It's just like as a marketing thing, like, hey, let's raise it and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you won't know until you do it.
well, I know we had a talk once on ethical pricing, which was how do you figure out a ethical price to charge your clients for the work you do. And the first part you have to figure out before you even think about pricing is your burn rate and how much it costs you to do the work to stay afloat. If you can't stay afloat with what you're charging, then you're not charging enough. So many people will get into this business of doing WordPress websites and they'll charge somebody $300 for a website, or they'll charge, or they'll think like $25 an hour, or I don't know. They'll be very unreasonable and sell themselves short for the work. And you have to sit there and think way beyond that. You have to think for the client's value, and I'm saving you having an employee. If your website is doing the work of an employee, then I'm saving you having an employee sitting at your desk 24/7 answering questions for your clients, or doing intake for your patients, or doing scheduling for your patients, or something of that nature. And you have to look at it that way too. How much am I saving that direction? So, yeah, good stuff. And Travis, you got to go. You got a meeting.
Yeah, I'll be leaving in a second here. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done. Actually, nobody's brought any more questions to the board, so I gave them as much time as I could to do so. It was nice to split off and discuss little fun stuff for a bit. All right, folks. So again, here we go. Our little bring up the banners. Make sure you visit our website at wptampabay.org. That's where we list all of our meetups. We'll be back again in 2 weeks for our panel. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. Click that little bell to be notified every time new videos are added or when any new videos are planned, so that you'll know that when we're going to be doing our next live stream. And thank you so much, Travis, Jen, Elaine, and Michelle for coming to the call tonight.
And happy birthday, Jim.
Yes, happy birthday.
Why, thank you. Do not sing. Please do not sing. Do not do that.
Just because you said that, I want to go 1, 2, 1.
We don't
two,
have the.
three.
We don't have. No, stop. We don't have the.
Sorry, guys. I think I have to head out. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, you can't sing it. We don't have the copyright for it. We'll have to you're not allowed to sing Happy Birthday. Remember, this is on a thing. I don't want to get buzzed by some horrible thing from YouTube. So anyway,
Once it's over 50 years, it no longer counts.
Yeah,
it should
it's
be
in open source or whatever now.
Is it an open source yet? So,
Open
all right,
copyright.
Travis. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Everybody stay on the call. We'll chat for a bit. I'm going to kick up the video now. All right. Thank you for watching our recorded session from WordPress St. Pete Meetup. We meet twice a month on the first and third Tuesdays in downtown St. Pete at the Suncoast Developers Guild. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new videos are added. Find out more about WordPress St. Petersburg at our website at wptampabay.org.